Right. So you said that you felt a little bit helpless when the team was in jeopardy in the early 2000s. How are things different now? How's the landscape different? And let me frame it this way, because I don't want to repeat too much of what we said in our previous episode reacting to the doc. But like, let's say the team never left and it was still here in 2025, but in danger. Do you think that you'd be in a better position to save a team that was on its way out today? Or do you think it would be easier to bring a team back that had left 20 years ago?
Yeah, water is wet. There's a bear shit in the woods. Yeah, of course. I mean, I think the difference is, yes, 20 years ago, nobody wanted to sign a check for 185 million. Today, sports teams are worth billion plus. NHL came out and they're like the Montreal Canadiens. Hats off to them. Again, Jeff Molson's done an incredible. Leave this up for a second. Jeff Molson's done an incredible job with the Canadiens. They're worth $4 billion, right? So I mean, it would be more expensive, but I also think like if there was a team, I don't think it would be in danger, because one of the main reasons at the time was this graph. If you look at MLB, 30 only, like quotation marks, this says a lot actually. Only 31% of ticket sales of revenue comes from ticket sales, which in Canada are in Canadian. National TV media rights, local TV medias, team sponsors. The pie is split up very differently.
It's more even between
it's
all
more
of the...
even, but what I see as an opportunity, where some see fear, risk, I see opportunity. You could basically grow that national TV media, local TV, and I've done millions of deals and sponsorships and partnerships and concessions. I have this vision of like this incredible, experience. I'm big in hospitality, so I think actually that's the thing. Your question is like it's like a error, because I don't think a team would be in danger, because frankly, TV rights have soared with streaming, and just even before streaming, ESPN and Fox competing, there was inflation there. So, but if there was a problem, like let's say if the same group had persevered and they're like, okay, we were individuals who invested, it's gone up now, they would probably sell it to like a media or telco or some big technology company or whatever. So they wouldn't need me, is what I'm actually realizing. Like that's
To elaborate on my question, last time we had said that if the team hadn't left in 2004, the writing was still on the wall. It would eventually happen. Like by 2010, they would have been gone. Does that mean that we've crossed over a hump now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that hump is Montreal has changed. Now, I don't think it's the government. And somebody was like, are you going to get taxpayer money? No, I think my plan is actually not to rely on taxpayer money, although I see 3 projects: franchise, stadium, and a commercial zone. The commercial zone, if they want to give benefits to, let's say, Hilton to build, like, that's not me. That's not the club. That's between those parties, and I'm willing to help. But yeah, no, I think we got over a hump because the business model changed. I also think Montreal, there's a lot, there's individuals here who could write that check, but it's unreasonable to ask somebody who took a risk, became a billionaire, or like has a net worth of 10 billion and say, why don't you write a check of $2-3 billion to, they're not going to do that. So I think, yeah, we got that. You put it really well. Like, we would have gone out of business if not 204 or 210, but if we would have survived, yeah, it would be very, very different. And today, the money is there. There's a lot of money, but it's like not a lack of vision. I want to be very clear. It takes time. Like, I'm a masochist, and I've said this to people. Building WatchMojo was, having experienced it, was a tougher challenge by orders of magnitude. Like, that number is infinite plus. Because think of startup risk, financial risk, ran out of money, got sued frivolously, won. Platform risk, copyright risk, human risk, 20 years. Like, so that was so much harder. If you go to somebody and you go, it's a physical asset, a stadium, franchise, look at the historical returns. This is not easy. This is doable. The only issue is, does Major League want to come to Montreal? If they do, they know where to find me. And they could even get back to me and just say, could you please just shut up now? And we'll get back to you when the time is right. I mean, ideally, I'm like, could it be before 2030? Because then the economics change.
I'm assuming that if MLB were to be interested, that it would 100% be an expansion team, and they wouldn't be interested in moving anybody to Canada, right? Like an American team.
So, okay, again, I don't want to speak on MLB, but if we were just talking, without this opportunity or interest, exploratory process, I mean, I know that like Tampa Bay was looking for a new home and a new buyer, and they found a buyer. And my guess is they're going to want to keep it there, but then they're still going to haggle around a stadium and all that. That detail I don't know. I know that the San Diego Padres owner put them for sale, and this is not, I don't know him, so I don't doubt his sincerity, but just for PR and optics, the press release I remember reading that we are still committed to the San Diego community. So their preference, I'm assuming, is to keep it there.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't think that MLB wants to relocate teams as much as eventually do expansion, but that's their decision. I'm not going to tell them what to do, and that's obviously. I do think the idea is to get to 32 for scheduling and all that. And maybe I don't know, move a team from one division to another. But yeah, generally leagues don't like to retract or move. It's disruptive. It looks bad. If you think of Gary Bettman in the NHL, if he wants to bring back a team to Atlanta because it's a big market or whatever, people are going to say, well, Atlanta failed twice. What's different? And what's different is the economy is different,
Mm-hmm. I was in Toronto a couple of days ago, and I went to a Lids hat store at Union Station, right downtown Toronto, and it struck me knowing that we were going to be doing this podcast, I was kind of looking around, and after the Blue Jays, the most popular hat in that place was the Montreal Expos. What does that tell you?
Yeah, when I remember, because humans take things for granted. So I remember when Snoop Dogg in one of his videos had a Montreal Canadiens jersey, it spoke to the not just the design, obviously, but just that it's a global brand. But even the Expos, and I think part of it is the loss. But there's many other reasons. But I think, I see Expos caps when I travel around the world. It's weird, but I get it. So there is nostalgia, and WatchMojo was built on nostalgia. But this is not just nostalgia. Yes, I'm a fan. Yes, I'm passionate. But as a business argument and case, it's compelling if you could get an expansion team sooner than later.
Yeah, because you don't see too many. This is a biased thing because we live where we live, but you don't see too many Atlanta Thrashers, jerseys or hats around. But I think it's kind of a different case. Let's talk about the paradox of money because, we mentioned that is the number one thing that people point to as a huge obstacle, but you don't see it that way. But explain this paradox.
Sure. So, ultimately, money, water, it's energy, right? So money has to flow somewhere. And the reality is there's trillions of dollars that are sitting, not in money markets, but they're not really deployed yet. Now, some of that might be somebody raised money to go buy a health company. So, but even if you strip away all the relevant money, there's a lot of money that's been raised in specialized funds to go buy sports franchises. And again, they may not even be aware. There's one group that I'm trying to, I would say, to be conservative, let's say 5 to 10 of these funds that I'm now, before, just talked to without even naming the team, because I, at first, not with all of them, with a couple clearly I did, because that's what gave me that, oh, this is possible. But there's one that is just this is all they do, but they may not think of Montreal because they're not here, right? So there's all this money, and the way it works is yes, a portfolio manager has their salary, but they actually get their variable compensation through a management fee, usually 2%, or carry, which is more of a success fee. That's usually 20% of profits. Goes back to the limited partners, yada yada, the people that put in the money, and they get a bonus of that. So investors, and it's psychology, investors want to invest, right? And investors want to invest more, not less, because the fixed cost of legal and due diligence is the same. If I buy a $5, asset or a $50 million asset, yes, the investment banks are going to charge a higher success fee as a percentage, but that fund wants to deploy more, and not because unethically just to earn their fees, but that's incentive. Greed works. That's how it resonates. So, and then ultimately, what's interesting is, let's say you are a wealthy, high net worth individual or a family office, third generation, first generation, doesn't really matter here. You don't have an attachment to Montreal. But if there was somebody like me or somebody else, if they want to take the baton, it gives you more comfort and confidence. And they can invest in real estate, they can invest in the stock market, they can go buy crypto, they can do whatever they want, they can buy a rock. But opportunities to invest in sports clubs are rare. And even if somebody sets up a special purpose vehicle, an SPV, that doesn't mean that Joe off the street or the Strasbourg family from Luxembourg can invest in them. It is an elite, private boys and girls club, so to speak. So the money is there. Like I would, you know, and I mean, you know this, but like Warren Buffett, you build your reputation over 20 years and you lose it in 5 minutes. So I would never do this if I clearly wasn't confident to have access and been told by people that I trust that if there is an opportunity, they would want to back it. Even right now, I swear on everything near and dear to me, there's a gentleman that I've actually been connected to for a very long time. And they said, we've never chatted, but we've been, you know, we've been connected on LinkedIn. And they're like, I manage on behalf of high net worth individuals and family offices. Let me know if we should chat. I said, I sent them the link to my article about the model when there's a line item for high net worth individuals and family offices. And naturally, there's a ode to Seinfeld because I called that person Art Vandelay, the most
Handling
successful,
industries.
the most successful latex salesman of all time.